Are carbs making your stress and burnout worse, or could they actually be the missing piece to healing your hormones? Let's break it down. In this video, I'm breaking down the real relationship between cortisol, stress, and carbs, how the wrong approach can worsen burnout, and how the right strategy can actually help you recover and feel better. Make sure to watch until the end because I'll be sharing the best way to use carbs strategically to lower stress, balance hormones, and support your energy levels. I also have a free guide for you that breaks down this step by step. The link is in the description. Today I want to clear up one of the biggest misunderstandings about carbs and stress. We all know cortisol is a stress hormone, right? You probably associate it with stress, anxiety, and maybe even weight gain. But here's the thing, cortisol is actually essential for your body to function properly. It's not inherently bad. In fact, cortisol is critical for regulating energy, metabolism, and even your body's ability to respond to stress in the first place. The problem comes when cortisol gets stuck in overdrive, consistently high, or conversely, when it's chronically low. When your cortisol stays high for too long, it creates a cycle of fatigue, burnout, and hormonal imbalances that prevent you from healing. You feel wired but tired, craving carbs, struggling with stubborn belly fat, and battling poor sleep. And guess what? Carbs play a direct role in regulating cortisol levels, but most women are using carbs the wrong way, which only worsens the burnout cycle. Think of cortisol like your body's internal energy manager. When it's balanced, you're ready to take on the day. When it's out of balance, you're stuck in a constant state of stress and exhaustion. Cortisol has a natural rhythm that your body follows. In the morning, it's higher to help you wake up and feel energized. At night, cortisol levels should drop to allow you to relax and get a good night's sleep. But if this rhythm is off, if cortisol stays elevated throughout the day, you start feeling wired but tired all the time. You get that afternoon slump, maybe around 2 or 3 p.m., and you find yourself reaching for sugar, caffeine, or anything that promises you a quick burst of energy. The good news? You can use carbs strategically to help balance cortisol and restore your energy levels. Eating the right carbs at the right times can regulate cortisol levels naturally and support your body's ability to recover from burnout. It's about eating in a way that helps your body reset and get back into balance. Now, I used to think that cutting carbs was the answer. I was avoiding carbs, thinking it would help with weight loss, but I was making my stress worse and my hormones even more out of balance. I was tired, I had low energy, cravings, anxiety, and poor sleep. And the worst part, my mood was all over the place. It wasn't until I learned to use carbs strategically, adding them back in at night to support cortisol balance, that I finally started feeling better. I had to unlearn everything I thought I knew about carbs and retrain my body to use them properly. The difference was night and day. I started sleeping better, my energy became more stable, and the midday crashes disappeared. When I started timing my carbs and making sure I was eating the right kinds, like sweet potatoes or quinoa in the evening, my body was able to reset, my cortisol levels balanced, and I could finally get back to feeling like myself again. And I get it, it's easy to think that carbs are the enemy, but they can actually be the solution when used the right way. If you've been cutting carbs to try to get a handle on your burnout, it might actually be making things worse. See, when you're under chronic stress, your body needs a specific amount of fuel to keep everything running smoothly, and carbs are a key player in that equation. So many women, especially those dealing with burnout, restrict carbs thinking it will help them with weight loss or energy. But here's the thing, cutting carbs too aggressively when you're already in burnout can elevate cortisol and put more stress on your body, making burnout even worse. Let's break this down. When you severely restrict carbs, your body goes into survival mode and stress hormones, especially cortisol, increase. High cortisol in the morning is good for waking up and helping you get energy, but if it stays elevated, it becomes a major issue. Some signs of too few carbs include waking up exhausted even after 7+ hours of sleep, that tired but wired feeling at night. Your body feels tired but your mind won't shut off. Sugar cravings, especially around 3 p.m. when your energy dips. Irritability and anxiety for no apparent reason. These are red flags that your body's being pushed too hard. Instead of cutting carbs too aggressively, your body needs a balance of carbs to keep cortisol and stress hormones in check. When you eat too few carbs, it can raise cortisol levels, leaving you feeling more stressed and burnt out. On the other hand, the right carbs at the right time can actually help lower cortisol, balance your energy, and support your nervous system's ability to recover. Here's the key. Carbs are essential to keep cortisol levels stable. If you're cutting carbs too much, your body can't produce the energy the way that it needs to. Adding in nutrient-dense carbs like sweet potatoes, quinoa, and legumes at the right time of day, like evening, will help lower cortisol and promote better sleep and recovery. Carbs should never be avoided completely, especially when your body is in a state of burnout and already under high stress. The solution isn't about cutting carbs entirely. It's about using them strategically to support your energy and balance your hormones. I remember being strict keto while I was already in burnout mode. I thought cutting carbs would help me shed some extra weight and give me some more energy. But instead of feeling better, I started to feel more anxious, exhausted, and craving sugar all the time. By 3 p.m., I would hit a wall, feel shaky, and immediately crave something sweet. And the worst part, at night, I would still feel wired, even though I was completely drained. It wasn't until I started adding carbs back strategically, especially in the evening, that I felt a real change. My energy leveled out, my cravings disappeared, and I actually felt calmer by bedtime, ready for a good night's sleep. Now, instead of cutting carbs completely, I eat the right carbs at the right times, and I feel more energized, stable, and most importantly, I'm not fighting my body's natural signals anymore. If you've been reaching for sugary snacks, processed foods, or that mid-morning muffin to get you through the day, you're probably spiking your cortisol levels without even realizing it. Here's the problem. Refined carbs and sugar might give you an instant energy boost, but it's like putting gasoline on a fire. It causes a quick spike in cortisol followed by a sharp crash. The blood sugar roller coaster that follows messes with your hormones and keeps your body in stress mode, making it harder to feel calm, focused, or energized. When you eat refined carbs, your body gets an immediate sugar spike, followed by an insulin surge to bring it back down. But if it happens too often, it keeps cortisol levels elevated, putting your body into fight or flight mode. This leads to mid-afternoon energy crashes, increased belly fat storage, more stress, and even anxiety. Eating a donut or reaching for a sugary snack might give you that quick pick-me-up, but it's the long-term cortisol spikes that are draining your energy and worsening your stress levels. The key here is to choose the right type of carbs, slow digesting, nutrient-dense carbs to help stabilize blood sugar and lower cortisol naturally. When you eat good carbs like sweet potatoes, quinoa, or fruit, your blood sugar rises slowly, giving your body sustained energy without the drastic spikes and crashes. The right carbs also play a key role in regulating cortisol and preventing stress overload. This can help with balanced energy, better sleep, lowest stress levels. By swapping out processed carbs and sugar for nutrient-dense foods, you're supporting your body's natural rhythms instead of pushing it into further overdrive. I used to live on coffee, eat low-carb junk foods and processed protein bars, thinking they were giving me the energy I needed. But by midday, I'd feel that similar crash. I would reach for more sugar or caffeine, thinking it would help, but it just made everything worse. I finally realized I was in a cycle of spiking cortisol all day long, which was leaving me feel more exhausted, more stressed, and craving more sugar. Once I started swapping refined carbs for nutrient-dense ones, like sweet potatoes in the evening or lentils in my lunch, I noticed a huge change. My energy became steadier, I stopped feeling I was always chasing that next sugar hit, and I finally felt balanced, not constantly battling the highs and lows. Now, instead of fighting stress with sugar and processed carbs, I'm using the right carbs at the right times to support my energy and keep cortisol in check. If you've been cutting carbs or relying on them incorrectly, you might have already learned that they could either help you recover or make things worse. Most women don't realize that carbs, when used properly, are one of the most powerful tools for lowering cortisol and managing stress. But here's the thing, the wrong carbs at the wrong time or eating them in excess can actually send your body into a state of stress overload, worsening burnout and making everything feel more out of control. For most women dealing with burnout, the question isn't whether or not to eat carbs, but when and which carbs to eat to support your energy and hormonal balance. So what's the best way to use carbs to support your body and lower stress? It all comes down to strategic carb timing. The right carbs at the right time can make a world of difference for your cortisol levels, your energy, and your overall stress recovery. Here's the breakdown. In the morning, keep carbs lower, focusing more on protein and healthy fats. This helps your body maintain its natural cortisol rhythm, supporting energy production without spiking blood sugar. In the afternoon, you want a moderate carb intake to sustain energy throughout the day, preventing the dreadful 3 p.m. crash and keeping cortisol levels balanced. In the evening, this is where you can have a higher carb meal to lower cortisol naturally and prepare your body for restful sleep. Eating carbs at night like sweet potatoes, quinoa, or lentils promotes recovery and supports hormonal balance as you sleep. By eating carbs at the right times, you're giving your body the fuel it needs to recover from stress and burnout, rather than pushing it further into a cycle of overdrive. I used to think I needed to restrict carbs throughout the day to feel more energized, but what I didn't realize was that I was actually hurting my energy and making stress harder to manage. The real breakthrough came when I started timing my carbs properly. Instead of cutting them in the morning, I shifted to higher protein breakfasts with healthy fats to balance cortisol first thing. Then in the evening, I added carbs back in, like a portion of sweet potatoes or rice, to support my body's natural recovery. You can tell I like sweet potatoes. The simple shift in my timing changed my energy levels, my sleep, and my overall stress response. I stopped feeling like I was fighting my body and started working with it to restore balance. Now that you know how to use carbs strategically to lower stress and heal burnout, I want to hear from you. What's your experience with carb timing? Have you tried adjusting when you eat carbs throughout the day? What's worked and what hasn't? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and help you take that next step in balancing your energy and hormones. Now I want you to imagine waking up feeling calm, energized, and ready for the day. No more battling midday crashes, no more relying on caffeine or sugar just to make it through. Instead, you're using food and carbs as tools to balance your stress hormones, improve your sleep, and finally start feeling like your old self again. When you use carbs the right way, you can lower cortisol naturally, feel in control of your energy, and support your body's recovery from burnout, without falling into those old patterns of stress. This is what happens when you give your body what it truly needs, not just what you think it needs. If you're tired of battling the constant roller coaster of energy and feel like you're never quite at your best, it's time to stop restricting carbs or fueling with quick fixes. The right carbs at the right time can transform your energy, support your body's natural stress response, and help you finally recover from burnout. That's why I created a free guide specifically for women like you who are ready to heal from burnout and balance your hormones with food, the right food at the right time. Click the link in the description to download your free guide and start the process of reclaiming your energy, healing your body, and breaking free from burnout today. If you found this video helpful, make sure to watch the next one in the series, The Worst Foods for High Cortisol and What to Eat Instead. In that video, I'm going to break down exactly which foods are spiking your cortisol levels, how they're keeping you stuck in burnout, and what you should be eating instead to support energy, balance, and recovery. If that video is already available, you can click here to watch it next. If you don't see it yet, make sure you subscribe and turn on a notification bell so you don't miss it when it's released. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.